the crowds on the big stage. I've been making hits with some big names. All them sex for my baby mama. Yeah!
Hi, Joey. As you can see, I was at camper not too long ago. 3 years ago.
I got you.
I don't know how to work
You gotta hit that on button.
It's not plugged in. I don't know where it's at.
Alright, just a quick thing. Can we give it up for the worship band this week? I mean, for real, like our worship leader comes down and loses his voice the first day, and yet we still have powerful music. Like, don't tell me the devil is more powerful than God. Come on. Alright, so I'm going to start off. Since I'm not too far removed from you guys, I'm going to start off with 5 things that I learned as a Round Lake camper, alright? So, number 1, be careful when you're trying to be flashy for the camera, okay? And let me explain. Alright, first incident, yeah, there's 2. First incident happens, we're doing the relay race. You saw it in the highlight where I was doing the potato sack race, you know, and I was the anchor, so I was the last person. And I was ready to the finish line, the camera was waiting there, everyone was cheering me along. Different other picture. There I am. That's the look I had in my eyes. And I was so ready. I saw the camera, and I go, and I jump. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing a drop kick for the camera. I gotta do something cool. And then, like, when I was in mid, I was like, crap, I forgot I had nothing to catch me. And so, like, I landed right on my hands, and then I broke my wrist. So yeah, that's time number 1. You'd think I'd learned my lesson, right? Don't kick the camera. But no, see the other picture that I had was me. We're on cabin games, right? We were running down the hill. We had our face painted. We were fierce. And the grass is pretty slippery, right? I didn't really think about that. I don't know if you can tell, but I had my hand wrapped at the time because it was so swollen and it was broken. And so I go up to kick the camera. I slip, fall right back on the hand again. Yeah. So lesson number 1, don't be too flashy for the camera. Be careful, all right? Lesson number 2, pranks always backfire. Always. Okay? Let me tell you a little story. This one doesn't involve me, luckily. So this involves Ryan Salzgaber and Ryan Nagel. And so what happens is Nagel Bagel, for some reason, was really good at sneaking under people's beds and scaring them, right? And so he was so ready to do this again for Ryan Salzgaber, right? He got under his bed. It was midday, so no one expected it. He was so ready to do this. And Ryan Salzgaber knew he was under the bed. And Ryan Nagel didn't know that he knew he was under the bed. So Ryan Salzgaber has a bottle of Axe with him in his hand. and right when Ryan Nagel's about to jump out with his eyes and mouth open, Ryan Salzgaber just starts spraying underneath the bed, all over. And I felt so bad for him. So please don't do that. Number 3, and somewhat related, spraying Axe is not a good substitute for a shower. Okay? For real, like, don't be that kid, okay? I know it's pretty late in the week, but it's still not too late. Go take your first shower, okay? Number 4, and I know the A-team's gonna like this. The purple rule is a good rule. Agreed with it, all right? As a teenage boy, I was like, yeah, girls, all right. Let's see, here's what happened, right? So there were these 2 staff members outside the window of our cabin, and they were making out, all right? I mean, like, making out. And so Ryan Salzgaber found it first because he was at the bed alongside the window, and he looks out, he's like, yo, come here, like, look at this. So I come running over, and before you know it, our entire cabin was looking out the window, like, cheering, like, yeah, get it, boy. And like, I heard later that every single cabin was doing that. So for your own safety, respect the purple rule. You don't know when someone's watching. All right, and number 5, and a little bit more seriously, a life where you're actively loving another people is far, far greater than when you're not. Okay? This is something that I had to learn the hard way. All right, and that's why I'm here tonight. Like I said to Brett earlier, I want to tell these campers something that I wish I was told when I was a camper. All right, I wish I was told that your way of living isn't the best way. All right, so before we get started, I want to explain to you what kind of love I'm talking about, because there are a lot of different kinds of love in the world. Like, it's the most overused word in the dictionary. Like, I love my mom, I love LeBron James, and I love pizza, but I love those all in very different ways. And so what kind of love am I talking about? I'm going to be talking about biblical love. Surprising, right? We're at Bible camp. Biblical love. Good one, Joey. All right. And so I'm going to be, what is biblical love, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, I like that person. No, I love them. Like, it's a step above like, right? That's what we think love is. But in the Bible, it doesn't have anything to do with emotional feelings or physical affection. See, like it says in Matthew 5:44, love your enemies. I always used to get confused by that because, like, how can I love someone that I hate, right? But that works because love in the Bible is a daily commitment to wake up and put others before yourself. That's what love is. It's not like, oh, I really like that person. You know what? I even love them. Like, they're just that great. No, it's not like that. It's like, you know, I don't really like that person. They annoy me sometimes. You know, they get on my nerves. But I'm committed to put them before myself. That's what love is. That's what the biblical love is. And so I'm going to start my story. I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony. And I'm going to start it right where you guys are today. Right? As a camper. When I was your guys' age, I was a jerk. I was all about the honeys, right? The fact that I called them honeys just shows the kind of person I was, all right? Man, I would do anything to get on top, man. I wanted to be the coolest kid in the room all the time, and I thought I was. And I thought every time I walked into the room, like, yeah, you better like me, because I'm cooler than you are. And I would do whatever it takes. I would be mean to other kids, no matter what it took. It didn't matter. Because I just wanted the cute girl across the room. That's all I cared about. And see, let's look at the Bible, right? God said in Proverbs 8:13, to fear the Lord is to hate evil. He says, I hate pride and arrogance, the path of evil and corrupt speech. I hate pride and arrogance. And he doesn't stop there. Everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not be left unpunished. That's not like, oh yeah, he might be punished. Like, yeah, he might walk into something that would backfire. No, he will not be left unpunished. If you think you're better than others, you got it all wrong. And God's going to let you know. And me sitting where you guys are, I heard that, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I really like the way I'm living, so I can take a few punishments here and there, right? I can be grounded for a week. I don't care. Like, I really like the way I'm living. You know, I'm cool. I got the girls. I'm good. Life is good. And see, God threw some punishments at me that I had no idea were coming. It all started in 8th grade in my history class. See, I had this kid named Ben Park in my history class. Really funny, kind of quirky, funny guy, right? He was always trying to make people laugh. And this one day, we were playing a review game, Jeopardy, for a test we had the next day. And we got put into groups of 5 or 6. And I got put in a group with Ben this day. He was actually kind of mellow, kind of, you know, not himself. But see, I also got put in a group with this really cute girl, so I was like, you know, I could talk to him about it. I could say, yo, what's up? Or I could flirt with this girl all the time, you know, the whole time. And I did. That's what I did. I flirted with the girl the whole time. We never dated, by the way. She was so out of my league. But that's what I did. And, you know, I went through the rest of the day not really thinking much. You know, I was like, yeah, that's cool. It's whatever. You know, I walk into the next day of school to my first period class, to Mrs. Clark's class, and I see her crying. I'm not talking about just a normal cry. I'm talking about she was bawling her eyes out, crying. And I go up to her, I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, what happened? And she was crying too much to even understand me. And so I go to my classmates, I'm like, yo, what's going on? They're like, I have no idea. And so another lady walks in the room and she says, guys, last night there was a tragic accident. Ben Park, he committed suicide. If you're sitting out there thinking that your lifestyle of being the coolest kid, of always getting ahead, even if you're not mean to other people, you just ignore people because you think you're too cool for them, then you go ahead and tell me that's the best way of living once you feel responsible for someone ending their own life. That's not a good feeling. You don't want that. I'm not trying to scare you into loving people, but I am warning you that your way of living isn't the best way. That's what I needed when I was in middle school. I needed that wake-up call. Like, wake up. You're not the coolest kid in this room. God is. You're not. And so this started a long period of thinking, but I really didn't want to change the way I was living. You'd think I'd learned my lesson, but being flashy with the camera, I don't learn after the first time. It takes another thing. And so I went to this camp called CIY. I was talking about it earlier. It's that high school camp that we go to as a youth group. And it was my first year at the camp, and this guy was giving a sermon, and he said, all right, I'm giving you a piece of paper, write something down that you're struggling with at the time. Right? Kind of like what we did with the wristbands. And he encouraged us to share it with someone during the week, and I was like, no, I ain't doing that. Like, I'm too good for that. I want people to think I'm perfect, And we go to a youth group time afterwards, kind of like what you guys do with cabin times. We go to a big youth group time, and I'm not really sure how it started, but before I knew it, people were sharing testimonies. Like left and right, people were sharing testimonies. We've even given it the name Testimony Night. And these were testimonies, dark testimonies of people parents that didn't love them, split up families, people who dealt with self-worth, people who were going to kill themselves but their brother walked in the room, people who tried to kill themselves but were hospitalized. And I remember looking around the room and saying, man, I haven't been nice to any of these people. Like, when's the last time I actually complimented one of these people? And I remember looking down at the piece of paper of what I had struggled with that I'd written before, and it said the word hate on it. Because I knew I was a hateful person. And at that moment I knew I had to change. At that moment I knew this was enough. I can't deal with this anymore. I realized that I wasn't better than other people. We all have flaws. And Micah set me up perfectly. He had you guys share those flaws. Expose them before they get too bad. Expose them. And so what do you do now? That's where I was stuck. I started looking for my self-worth in people, what they thought of me, right? Because I didn't want to be a jerk anymore, so I was no longer friends with those people. But I also couldn't be friends with the rest of the people because I was jerks to them. And so I felt like, who am I? What kind of person am I really? All I've done is hate on people. All I've done is thought I was better than people. And now I'm stuck. Little did I know I had a youth group and a church of people that loved me, but I didn't know that at the time. That's what's important about talking to your leaders, talking to the people around you. You need those people. I promise you. I didn't have anyone that I was comfortable enough calling at a time like this. So it got worse. I'll never forget this day. It was the day before my 16th birthday on August 19, 2016. I hit rock bottom. That's just rock bottom. Probably the worst day of my life. It was the third day of school. I had gotten home. None of my family was home. They were all working or at school. And I had gotten home, and I started crying. I was like, there isn't anyone that loves me. I got nothing. And I got down on my knees, and I cried out to God. I said, God, why did you create me? All I've done is be mean to people, put down other people, end people's life. Why did you create me? I'm a mistake. And in that moment, I realized something very, very wrong. Because I know some of you have been in that moment before. Some of you, maybe you haven't gone down on your knees, but you have thought, man, I am a mistake. What am I doing here? So break this down with me. Has God ever made a mistake? Has God created each and every one of you? Do you see where I'm going with this? If God has never made a mistake, and God has created each and every one of you, it's impossible for you to be a mistake. Literally impossible. There is no way you're a mistake. Has God ever created something that isn't enough? No. There is no way. It's impossible. Repeat after me. I am enough. Repeat after me. I am enough. Repeat after me. I am a masterpiece. Did you hear the person next to you? They're a masterpiece too. Did you hear the people across the room? They're a masterpiece too. You're not better than them, but you're equally as amazing as them. It's like this. $20 bill. Who wants it? Alright, if you're not raising your hand, you're crazy. I'm not going to give it to you. Just saying. $20 bill, right? Clean, crisp, 20, not really, folded a couple times. $20 bill. Who wants it?
Still worth $20.
Who wants it?
Still worth $20.
You got it. You're worth something. I don't care how much life beats you down. I don't care how much people hate on you. You're still worth it. There's nothing that will change your value. I don't care what other people say. You're still worth it. It's impossible for you to be anything less than that. Impossible. I don't care what they say. They don't know what they're talking about. It's like this. Say your mom or your dad or someone you really love spends 9 months every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, working so hard, creating this beautiful painting. And they're put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. And when they're finally finished, they come running to you and say, look what I created. Look at this. It's a masterpiece. And you take a glance at it and you're like, man, it's kind of worthless. That's a mistake. You shouldn't have made that. Why? See, we're not quick to realize that every time we say we're a mistake, we're doing the same thing to God. God created each and every one of you for a specific reason. You're in that exact seat for a specific reason. God never makes mistakes. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, we've messed up. We've confessed our sins. But don't think that just because you've had a sinful past that you're a failure and that you're not enough. And don't let anyone else tell you that. Don't let the me's of the world, the middle school versions of me's of the world tell you that. Because they're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. In both these situations, I was missing one thing, and that's love. I was missing love. So don't take my word for it. Let's look at the Bible. How important is love? 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14. Let all that you do be done in love. Colossians chapter 3, verse 14. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12. Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers all wrongs. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. I think love's important. She doesn't stop there. See, these Pharisees, they come up to Jesus Christ and, they think they're all smart and sophisticated and all that. And this one legal expert comes up to him and is like, hey, Jesus, answer me this, right? We got the 10 Commandments, right? We got the 10 Commandments. Which one is the most important? trying to trick him. And Jesus answers, oh, love God, love others. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's what he says. Love God, love others. Love. I'm not saying that all it takes to be a Christian is love, but I am saying that you can't be a Christian without it. So what are you afraid of? What are you so afraid of? One of my favorite quotes from C.S. Lewis, he's a very smart guy, and he says, Christianity, if false, is of no importance, and if true, is of infinite importance. The only thing it can't be is moderately important, somewhat important. What does that mean? If God exists, that we believe, then he is the most important thing that's ever existed in this universe ever. And if he doesn't, then he's of absolutely no importance, right? If he doesn't exist, he's of no importance. The only thing God can't be is this middle ground that we're stuck in, of somewhat important. The only thing God can't be is a once-a-week thing, and then forget about it the rest of the week. The only thing God can't be is, I'm going to read my devotion in the morning like a good Christian does, and then forget about it the rest of the day. The only thing God can't be is, I'm going to love God and worship Him this whole week, and then forget about it. Once I go home, I'm going to go back to my normal life, because I know I'm cool. These kids at school, man, they know I'm cool. The only thing God can't be is temporary. Is this middle ground. So you have a decision to make tonight. You have a decision to make tonight, because there is no more middle ground. You can't stick in that anymore. You either commit your life to Christ or you walk away. And I'm not telling you to do one or the other, but I'm sharing with you why I choose to stick with God. Because that road is scary, and it's dangerous, and it is not fulfilling. It's easy. It's an easy road to take, but it's not fun. It's hard to go home and forget everything that people think about you and say, you know what, I'm a follower of Christ. It's hard to do that. But it's time to make a decision. Are you ready? Are you ready to commit your life to Christ? Yeah, you're covered of sin, but are you ready to start loving on people? Are you ready to start doing that? One of my favorite things that a man at CIY, this pastor named Andy, he said one day, you know, all the neighborhood kids, we'd go out every day and we'd go play. And every day some kid would make some crazy claim like, oh, I can do like a double backflip on a trampoline or something. And they would always look at him and say, prove it. Well, I'm standing here today saying, I've seen your list. I've seen a lot of you have been baptized. So you claim to be Christians. Are you a Christian? Prove it. I am so sick and tired of seeing people who claim to be Christians and don't live like it. You know, a lot of people think the biggest enemy to Christianity is atheism, but that's not the case. The biggest enemy to Christianity is people who think they're Christians but aren't. So don't call yourself a Christian if you're not going to act like it. I don't want more of those people in the world. Either walk away or commit. No more middle ground.
Amen.
And so we're going to try something here tonight. I'm going to give you guys a chance to start practicing. When I pray and I walk off this stage, I want you guys to start loving on each other. You might think, well, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? It could be anything. It could be going to your leader and saying, yo, thanks for giving up your week. It could be going to the person next to you and saying, hey, you're awesome. Don't let anyone tell you differently. It could be going to someone that you see sitting alone and saying, yo, can I pray for you? It could be worshiping together. We're about to start worship, but don't let it stop then. Don't stop loving just because we're singing. You can sing and love. And don't stop after we're done with worship and you go into your cabin times. Continue loving. And don't stop when you go to bed and you wake up the next morning at breakfast. Don't stop loving. And don't stop when your parents come and pick you up and you go home and back to your schools. Don't stop loving. Because you're going to fall into the same trap that I fell into. Are you a Christian? Prove it. Pray with me. Dear God, thank you for bringing each and every one of these kids here to this camp, because whether they know it or not, they're here for a reason. And Lord, I ask that you give them the courage to commit their life to you, because that is the biggest decision they'll ever make in their life. I don't care if they've been baptized, because being baptized one time isn't always enough. Sometimes you need to be mentally baptized every day. So Lord, please give them the courage as we begin to start loving on each other. Give me some brave souls, Lord. I'm not forcing them to do it, but give me some brave souls, because if they can't do it here, they won't be able to do it at home. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.